So here are my tips on what I find important when shooting a product video. Tip number 1 is to try to make the product look interesting. For the product shot, I added a black acrylic floor that makes the watch reflect off the ground. It gives it a luxury feeling to it and just makes the overall scene look more interesting. And to me, it's little details like this that make a big difference. It's important to clean the surface using a microfiber sheet to remove the unwanted fingerprints. I built out the rest of the set by adding some coffee beans, which I thought would match great with the golden color of the watch and adds more depth to the scene. There are really no rules to this. You have to try and test out to see what works for the product. Just remember that the scenery will reflect the product's message. Tip number 2 is to use proper lighting. It's important to have a soft light by adding a diffuser and getting it as close as possible to the product so that the light is nice and spread out. To isolate the product more, I added a honeycomb over the diffuser. For my second light, I included an aperture M9 to light for the reflections and to make it a little bit brighter. It was kind of hard to light this product because sometimes the light would reflect on the glass of the watch, so I had to work around it to find a good reflection. I added a third light to brighten the other side to make it look evenly lit. Try experimenting around and shape your light in a way that makes the product stand out more. For my last tip, tip number 3 is to add movement to the product. Under the platform, I added a motorized turntable that allows the product to rotate smoothly. You can also buy a cheap turntable in IKEA if you are on a budget. For the smooth push in and slide shot, I used the iFootage Shark slider. It's important to try to get as many different shots as possible to have more option in post. Everything was shot on the Sony a7 III in 4K, 25 frames per second and 1080p 50 frames per second using the Sony